Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Madden podcast. I'm Max, and I'm joined here today, as every day, every time, by the wonderful, the amazing Roxanne. Hi, Roxy, how are you?
Hello, Max. I'm wonderful. Thanks for giving me such a great intro every time.
You're welcome. Uh, it's fun. I was just for a second because your image on the screen just froze for just one little second, and as you were, your mic was disconnected, and suddenly it was connected, but your hands were occupied somewhere else. I was like, who did that? Who connected your mic? Yeah, right. So, what are we going to talk about
You have the
today?
idea. Give it
We're
to him.
going to talk. Yes, vibrational tactician, right? We have already talked directly and indirectly about vibration, what it is, but in your teachings, in your work, you, Roxy, you have spoken a lot about becoming a vibrational tactician,
Yes.
right? To be aware of your vibration and to use it, to be it, to recognize it, to observe it, so that you understand how you are evolving, your evolution through your vibration, what that means in your attracting your reality, in creating your reality, and all of that. And it's something that I think it's very interesting for everyone, and something that I think we it's a very good thing to go through and to talk about as much as we can, because it's something, again, as everything we talk about, you may not get it right, or you may not work with it exactly the way you want the first time. You need repetition, you need to, so yeah, and then through that you get evolution, and you get understanding, and you get more of it, right? So I think that because these are all concepts, but they are more than concepts,
Yes.
because now you can see that it's not just that we talk about it, is that we are
Yeah, the
living it, we
implementation of
are
the concept.
applying it. It's part,
You have to
yeah,
implement it.
it's part
Yeah,
of
exactly.
ourselves. Yeah. So when we take a topic like this one, a vibrational tactician, is that we have experienced it in our everyday life, let's say. So that, right? It's not talk, it's life. It's what we are, what we become, and we also see the impact, the change that brings in our experiences, in our lives. And so we can only, right, encourage everyone to just go and apply it, and do it, and see for you what that makes. Because uh, another thing about that is that whatever we say about, right, being a vibrational tactician, that is our perspective. Then you have to make it yours. You have to take that and then implement it in your own reality, and you will see how that works out for you. But that will be your way. Our way, well, works for us, and that's what we can talk about. Then obviously, well, vibration is vibration, right? Tactician, a tactician, yeah, we see what that is. But nevertheless, when you, as I experienced that, right, in my experience, I've been following Roxy for now, well, some time. And so I've heard Roxy talking about vibrational tactician many times. And then it's the moment I've been in situation, in the now, observing myself and seeing how that plays out, that I've been able really to understand what that is for me, how that works for me, right? The moment I see me acting in a certain way, and then I realize that that attracts another now, a choice, a now, and that has a clear link to the way I was vibrating, I was being in that moment that was acting. Then, well, then for me that became clear. That now is clear. If I vibrate lack, guilty, victim, then I know that what that brings to me, it's gonna be linked to that vibration, right? If I feel victimized, a victim, and I vibrate that, I will get what? I will get more of that because I'm holding myself in that vibration, and so I stick with that. That is where I can see, right? Being a vibrational tactician is that I understand that my victimization comes from my vibration of victim. And as long as I hold that, I am not necessarily, right? This is not something that is to be understood that, oh, if I do then the consequence is absolutely that, right? Remember that. Side note. But nevertheless, when I am here in this now and I am vibrating victim, then quite most certainly I will have more of victim. It's the way that I can see that, and when I understand what a vibrational tactician is, that I am able to perceive that, I am able to understand that, so that then when I've understood, if I'm a victim, I stay a victim vibrationally, then I say, well, now I know that. So now I have the choice to change my vibration or my relationship with it so that I do not vibrate victim anymore. So I give myself a chance not to stay a victim. Then there are other things, right? Perception, all of that, right? Okay. But that is essentially how, as I watch myself evolving, acting, being in the now, then I understand how that works vibrationally, so that I allow myself other choices. And that is the key thing about understanding, right? Playing with or being a vibrational tactician is that then you give yourself that more choices to instead of something, you have something else, and that something else, if you keep your vibration as you used to, that something else was not available to you, simply because you were limiting yourself in your vibration, because your vibration attracts, and it attracts what it is matching, not what is not matching, because it's not matching. So it cannot come. It cannot be there. So if you want, many people are there. Oh, be the change that you want in the world. Do the change. Be this. Be that. Right. But then they keep doing exactly the same thing that they were doing. So how do you want to change if you keep doing the same thing? But in order not to do the same thing, you have to understand that that is what is keeping you in the same situation, repeating a vibration. You keep that vibration, well, that you get more of that vibration, just because that's how it is. If if you are vibrating carrots, you get carrots. You will not get broccoli. Right? It's the way it is. If though you choose to say, well, I am done with the carrots vibration, then let me go to the broccoli, then yeah, you'll have broccoli. But until you don't choose that, you cannot. It's like that. The understanding of that, right, comes with, as I said, to me it came with the realization, with the watching myself, being aware of myself in my evolution, in my actions, and just paying attention to it. And that made all the difference. In then from there, being able to perceive even further myself and my action and my relationship with the moment, with myself, with my environment, with my creation, with all of that. Being able to even internalize more reality. When I realize the way I vibrate, my relationship with vibration, then the internalization has become even more obvious to me. Because at that point, well, there is no other way to go. And I've seen, look, clearly, the more I try to go outside, the less I can be well in my vibration, in my right. So in my now, in my interaction, in my evolution, in my being, it doesn't feel well. So let's come back inside. Let's bring that I am assigning out, let's bring it back in. And our last session Saturday, right, we were talking about something. I don't remember exactly what the topic was, but we were discussing something, and Roxy reminded me that, you see, it that you are perceiving, it's still your interpretation, so it's still you. Reminding me, oh yeah, everything. Internalize everything, even what appears really external. Internalize. But this evolution, this ability to get inside, because sometimes I'm observing and seeing people getting so exciting about what is not there and now, here and now, right? And excited about, oh, so built up and fire up and getting angry and all there and there. Why do you do that to yourself? And then I remind myself, yeah, but they're not internalized. And that's their reality. That's how they are perceiving it. So they're doing nothing to themselves. It's just the way they're expressing themselves, the way they know. That's what they know. So know yourself, know your vibration, interact with it, observe it, observe how that is unfolding. Observe when you do something and then what comes after. Observe it, so that can give you a glimpse of understanding this, right? That's how I did. You don't have to do that way. You may do it another way, but it's how I did it. Observe it. It may give you understanding, and obviously understanding of yourself, right? That is the thing. But then that understanding, it's evolution. It's helping you in the discovery of yourself, because that's always what happens with us now. And I think that for me, as I said, this has completely give me a new understanding and a new push into my evolution and into the discovery of myself, the interaction. And now, to take a step forward, understanding all of this doesn't mean that then you get to control your reality, or to say, oh, if I vibrate this way, so if I am in this way, then this must happen. It doesn't work that way, because there are other factors that can come into consideration. Also, when you are a co-creator with other beings, well, there is also that factor that can have an influence in how things are unfolding. Right? So this is not to be taken as a way to have full control and to be able to put your will in it, because, right, these are things that we tend then to want to have. But nevertheless, it is clear that what is impacting, where there is an impact, is in choices, what is available to you. Instead of having few choices, you will have many, 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 many more available. Because by understanding your vibration, by understanding yourself, then the energy, your creational energy, your internal energy will flow freely, more free. And when your energy flows more freely, then your choices become that are available to you are more. It's to be more into, let's say, an example, or to be more clear in what it is that let's say a young person that comes to the moment where they have to choose what is that I want to have as a job. If you are into controlling or in a certain vibration, this young man or woman will have a couple of choices. To have a more freely access to your energy, having flowing more freely, then instead of having a couple of choices, this young person will have 10, 20, 50 choices available. They can go and become an artist. They can go and become, well, accountant, or become a police person, or, right? This is there, and many, and you can name them, whatever. Is the difference, right? A couple against many, many more. And that, well, I took one example. You can have that with other things. It's that difference. It's a huge difference. And then you can have in between, but you may not go from obstruction, which is right. You vibrate opposition. You vibrate lack, etc. And then you start changing your relationship with yourself, with your vibration, and you have your energy going flowing more freely, but you don't go from 0 to 100 like that. It's an evolution, as always, and you have to allow yourself to have the evolution. Now, do not expect yourself to get it right immediately. Give yourself, you have time, you have all the time, you are creating your time. It's so you have all the time that you need. Allow yourself that. Be kind with you. Don't get angry because you feel that it's not working or that you're not getting it right. Don't get angry with you. Allow yourself to evolve, to get it. And you will, eventually, we all do. So that by doing that, then you get to have more and more and more choices available into your now.
My turn?
I can't hear you. Oh,
Good stuff.
yeah.
Good stuff. I
Sorry.
wasn't sure you were done. I always look at it in the idea of Tesla and Nikola Tesla and Einstein. They had said if you want to understand the universe, I think Einstein used universe and maybe Tesla, it could be reversed, used creation. If you want to understand, then you got to start thinking in terms of frequencies, tones, and vibrations. So that's how creation literally works. Quantum physics, and most of the majority of humanity doesn't want to accept it, has given us a scientific way to understand that we're living on a holodeck. And our electronic inputs in our mind are telling us pleasure and pain, daylight, sound, senses, taste, feeling. So we're experiencing a third density, a physical vibratory world, and in that it's founded in vibration. So become a vibrational tactician. So what does that mean? As Max was saying, it's a relationship thing. So, for example, all of you, maybe not all of you, yeah, I would think all of you, walked into a situation. Let's say you walked into a bar or a nightclub or a restaurant or a room with some friends, and you can feel the change of atmosphere when you walk in. It's like maybe someone that just was getting done with an argument and you interrupted an argument. You can feel the fucking tension in the room. Or if you walk into a nightclub and you say, nah, this isn't for me. You look around, but that's your defining idea is secondary after you translate. But the first thing to happen is always vibration. So immediately you understand this isn't resonating or it is resonating with you. So that doesn't give you the finality of that. What it is the beginnings of the evolution, and you put it in terms of, or I put it in terms of familiarity. The more time I spend with something, the better I get at it. Naturally. So I spent time feeling rather than thinking, an enormous amount of time feeling. And it was not a pleasant idea because I was feeling everything I was interpreting, and being in a vibrational raised world, my entire world vibrated oppression, hostility, criticism. It wasn't a very fun life as far as the possibility. It wasn't an abusive physical life, but it was an abusive mental life. So my whole posture through life was looking at things in defensive mode, justification mode, getting in trouble, fear. That was my vibration. And when I start to observe my own interpretations, I'm spending time growing familiar with my own self. And that takes a big piece of humble pie to understand that's your truth. That's the way you're perceiving reality, like Max had said. Perceiving, oh, that's right. You bring it back to the internal interpreter because that's what's happening. You are creating your experience because the way you see things, period. The way you translate them. If it's bad, it's bad. It's not wrong that it's bad. It's not right that it's bad. It's telling you how you're seeing it. So you start to feel the relationship instead of think about the relationship with vibratory experiences in the now, and you become familiar with it, so you can start to understand not necessarily what's going to be attracted in the idea as of yet, but more so in the energy that you're putting out is where you would want to focus at the beginning. So let's say you're in a conversation and you're starting to feel a resistance to this conversation. Someone asks you a question or they're part of it, and you've been in this situation, you know the person, you have some investment with them, or if even you don't know the person, but let's use someone you know, someone familiar, someone close, or something of that regard. And then you feel a resistance in that. And then maybe you want to argue the point to prove your point, or maybe you don't want to argue the point because your opinion differs and you don't want to hurt their feelings. So all of these are vibrational truths telling you how you're behaving. So you can learn the language of the now, is what I call it. Speaking the language of now is vibration. Creation doesn't speak English. It doesn't speak expectations. It doesn't look for things to make you happy. Creation is telling you unrelentlessly what the hell you are, but not in defined mannerisms. It's not saying you're an asshole. It's not saying you're a good Samaritan. It can give a flying fuck about you because creation is you interpreting the all. That's it. So you turn it back to subjective, and I was like, man, I got a really shitty attitude about life. I'm very tense. I'm very protective about my own ego. I'm very justified. I'm very argumentative. And I play out violent scenarios in my mind of the possibilities of someone being an asshole and how I just kick the living shit out of them because they deserve it, because they're causing me pain. So I play those bullshit ideas in my mind, and being a child trying to make the balance of my emotions back in alignment so I didn't feel that way anymore. So instead of fixing creation, I started to observe it, and what I noticed was the feelings, the vibratory feelings that told me the truth about myself. So as you ascend your internal self into the whole of you that is an unconditional being that gives a flying fuck what anyone's doing. It doesn't matter because it's all experience, the purity of now, right? As you evolve yourself into that, you're going to grow familiar with these different ideas, firstly within yourself, transcending those ideas through humility and acceptance, knowing that's your shit, own your shit, and it gives you a choice now of taking action to put the same vibration out. Now, you're not going to attract back. If you're an asshole, you're not necessarily going to attract an asshole. If you're putting out enough misery, you're going to get ways to be miserable, but you're also going to get in those exact same fucking moments ways to change your relationship to the now by not choosing to be miserable. Talk about shit that's not happening. You do it all the time. Fearing yourself of the possible future, what you need to do, what you hope for. All of these are putting vibrations of lack into the now, creating the attractive world of change. Whether you perceive the change or not is up to you. Whether you choose the change if you perceive it is still up to you. So becoming a vibrational tactician for me, when I started it, was first learning me. And then learning where I'm putting my energy. What am I putting into my vortex, as Abraham says? What am I spilling into my spinning energy, my will of the now, my vortex? Am I putting beliefs in there? Am I conjuring up ideas of fear about a future, taking action and putting the action of preventing in the now? Am I making myself a purpose? Am I preaching to the other people to make sure they're doing the right thing so humanity can wake up? And what the hell am I putting into my now? And that takes a self that doesn't externalize anymore and realizes, hey, you're doing this and no one else is. No one's at fault. No one's causing this. Stop with your little pity party and get nasty and go to work. So you start going to work on yourself and you really understand that. Then what I started to understand was when you're looking at creation, you can feel the vibratory states of familiarity. So if someone is soliciting you to be obligated, and they're being using the vibration of guilt to get you to choose something because they know you are obligated, and you're gonna feel guilty if you don't. And we're not talking about a malicious person. We're talking about a person just being their normal self with you. They have no fucking idea what's going on. But you recognize, they're playing the victim, so I can feel guilty. Then my mind will say you're obligated. And to ease the guilt, I'll choose the obligation to make myself into a posture of a hero to do the right thing here. And then the cycle continues. So vibratory states of being are constant. Frequency is bombarding us in all directions. Becoming a vibrational tactician is like any craft. You start out as an apprentice and then you turn into the master. So you have to start, and you start with the humility of the now and say, you know what? I'm going to start observing myself. I'm going to start to feel myself. I'm going to start to understand. And even when I think I've got it, I better be damn sure I'm still observing myself, because whenever I think I got something, I'm fucked. Because I'm putting a limitation on me. Creation is relentless. It's like nature. It don't give a fuck. It's not going to stop evolving. It doesn't give a crap about you and your own little dreams. You're a part of it. Humans separate and externalize themselves from creation as difference. There's no difference. We're all vibration. We're all their own awarenesses. So we go to work on our humility, using humility to see our core vibration, what we're putting out. Like, here's one. Chores. When you do a chore, you think you got to get it done. When you go into work, you sit down and you turn on a new posture, and you go to work, and you accomplish and get it done. That's a vibratory state of being. And if you start observing that, then you're going to see how much you're carrying yourself as a posture instead of a persona. What is a posture? I'm going to get this done. I put on my get it done outfit and I get it done. But does it mean it won't get done through your persona way, the natural way, yourself that you feel is the awesome self, and start to do things your way instead of the structured way of the memory? I was having a conversation with a woman the other day, yesterday, and she was talking about an idea of dating. And I had pointed out to her there's a possibility that you're carrying, since you haven't dated that much, that you're carrying your experiences of your first dating, which was 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago. You're carrying that solution that you found, and now you're this young. So you're carrying a 15-year-old solution to a now idea of evolution. So that was your vibration. So when you put that out, aren't the frequencies of imagination going to be realmed within those limitations? Well, of course. So it's like time. Let's take an example of time. If you guys look at time as linear, then your relationship to reality is going to be a linear time paradigm. If you look at time as created, and you create time, so you're a literal time machine, and I know we can't create time in the idea of will, that, like he said, don't demand it. We're still evolving. But when we understand that time is when we look at the clock and we consider this the moment, and we place that moment in time, is a created relationship, then all of a sudden you open yourself up to different possibilities that aren't so linear. So we start to understand, it's like you leave late to show up early because you weren't paying attention to time. You weren't valuing that posture, and you weren't putting the vibration, I'm going to get to work, I'm going to be late, and you're focusing on getting to work. And it's like, okay, if I'm late, I'm late. And then you turn on your radio and you enjoy your ride, you drink your coffee, and you let your mind muse for the days and ride the whims of your mind, instead of like trying to be a highway bandit to get to work on time because you're trying to hold up your vibrational posture of never being late, or some bullshit story you're selling yourself. So you're looking at that frequency creates a relationship, vibratory state of now, attracting those potentials. You still get the potential of change, but you never see the vastness of it when you start to choose a different relationship with yourself in the now. So I think those things are vital to understand as we move forward in vibrational tactician is A, take your fucking time. Get familiar with the frequency. When someone is going to say something and you know they're going to say that and they validate that, don't think yourself a psychic hero or some purpose. Don't put another posture on you. Know that you're developing your tactitional skills of vibratory interpretation. So you can feel a person before they say it. You know what they're going to do. And I know women out there, being a woman myself, we're great arguers. And when we argue, what do? We finish the sentence for other people. Of course, men do that too, but sometimes they're so wanting, they run over the opportunity. In the feminine side, and it's not man-woman, I'm talking about the frequencies of masculine and feminine. It can be represented in any physical body. Physical body is irrelevant. So that posture that you're approaching gives you access to instead of the demand of wanting to win the conversation or the argument, you allow the argument to unfold. You don't want anything out of the argument except the pure bliss of an argument. And then all of a sudden you have access to those other ideas, giving you a different approach to it. And you can start to feel what they're going to say before they say it, because you're having the conversation already in the now. So there's a lot to be said with vibration. And of course, most appetites of humanity will take an idea and they'll devour it. And they can see if it's commercialized, and if it is, they'll sell it at Christmas. And they want to try it. That's what the mind, what's it going to do for me? How's it going to be productive? What can I get out of it? What can I squeeze out of this? And it's like, this is not that. This is part of evolution. We're not taking these things and putting them on us as badges of honor to parade around in. What we're doing is we're taking these concepts, being humble, meek, taking your time and evolving yourself through that. What we're doing as humans, we forgot everything, and as a collective, we're evolving. So if we can stop dividing ourselves by stop dividing your internal self, you will become unified with yourself, therefore you'll be unified with creation, and then you won't see the division, and then another, and then that collective can start working as a unit instead of a differentiation. So I think vibration will help us get it there. What do you think, Max? That's what I wanted to say.
Absolutely. And I love what you said, to understand what our relationship with it, what it is, right? I feel a certain vibration, certain things. So, right. I've noticed through my life, I've noticed there are moments where I know unconditionally that my the hockey team that I've always been following, there are days where I know they're going to win. I just know it. It's just that I know it. So I know the feeling. I know what that is, but I cannot go and create that feeling. I cannot go and try to have it. It's there or it's not there, right? It's the unconditional expressing itself. So it's not my will that can create that feeling. The feeling presents itself or not. And so, but when it presents itself, now I know what that means. But even if I know what that means, well then, what? They're gonna win. Great. All right. They still have to play the game, right? In time. So what am I going to do with that? Well, nothing. Why? Because there is nothing to be done. It's these things are like that. I noticed that right, vibrationally, in what is geopolitical situations, I'm able to perceive things, to know where it's going. I knew in the last US election, I knew months in advance that Trump was done. And I knew it for sure, even though I could not be sure because the experience has to be experienced. So
Yeah, it
you
has to be
cannot go
played
and
out.
say, oh, but yeah, it has to be played out. But I could feel it that at that moment as the thing where it was quite most than probable, right? That was the potential that we were going to play out. Um, so, but then what, right? You feel the things. You vibrationally, you are able to interpret them. Good, great. Humble yourself. You're not better. You're not doing anything extraordinary. It's and it remains a in the realm of what is potentially. So potentially, everything can still change and be something else. What you experience in this moment, even vibrationally, where you receive an information of something being more likely to happen, great. It can change the next moment. Because until the experience is not played out, potential, 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 potential. And there are so many potentials that everything can change completely. So don't get sucked up into that think of then trying to make that something that it is not. Reality or creation and experiences have to be they remain to be had, right? You cannot jump ahead of yourself. That is also why when you are able to have that vibrational relationship with, let's say, psychic, or being able to see what is the future, right? To predict or to tell people, oh, you may have this. Great. Remember, you are giving a potential. You're not giving something that is written in the stone. It's a potential. It remains a potential. You're not wrong. You're not. You cannot never be wrong because you cannot say things that do not exist in creation. However, we have choices and we can choose differently, so that the experience, it's going to be something different, not because the what you felt vibrationally is wrong. It's simply that all the choices have been made, and that remains always available to every one of us. We do not have a destiny at all. It We always have choices. We have potentials. Yes, those, plenty of those. Nothing is written in a stone. Everything changes. It means that we keep always ourselves the choices open, so also vibrational, that is also right in the vibration. That is what it is. As Roxy was saying, right? People that can vibrationally feel what other are going to say. Yeah, you feel that. That's vibration. Everything is, but never written in the stone. And I think that, right, this is something that, oh, wait, Oh, okay. No, it's working. Okay. Yeah. All right. I thought, oh, I muted. I was speaking in for nothing. Sorry. I had just a moment of, oh, um, we really have always that available, right? And many are getting lost into wanting to have everything already, right? Uh, Written, or the destiny, or because probably that will make it easier for them, right? That's an identity. It's just, oh, I'm
It
more
answers
secure
more
of myself
questions.
if I have a
Yeah, it
destiny.
answers a lot of uncertainties when you put
Yes,
yourself in those postures, in those predictabilities. Yes.
yeah. It's like having control on what you're doing, because you say, well, if I have a destiny, I cannot get it wrong, and I'll get there eventually, surely, there. Um, Nevertheless, even if that may be that there are people that are unable to let go of that, because, right, of that identity thing and security and all of that. But nevertheless, when we let go of that, we really, and that's my experience, is that it's wonderful. It's so wonderful, because when you give yourself a destiny, then what happens when you're not getting there, when you do not get that? Failure. So you're not good, you're less than, because you couldn't get what you wanted, or what you thought you must be able to do, because that is. And as we don't have that, then and by the way, as soon as you give yourself a destiny, you are already setting yourself up to fail, because, right, it's vibration. It's the energy doesn't flow freely, so you are having a opposition, you are sending opposing energy to that, so that instead of getting there, you go in a completely different direction. And even if you are able to go and come close to what you think is your destiny, you will still not get there exactly to that you think is your destiny. It's quite impossible. You will deviate and you will go in some other direction, so that in the end you may be still satisfied with that or not. But it's something that I think it's putting a heavy weight on your shoulder to be able to deliver, and it's unnecessary, because you are such a beautiful being. You have such wonderful experiences and potentials that you have absolutely no idea of. And when you absolutely want to have that destiny, then you are just pushing everything away, and you're not seeing what is there, because you are so, right, obsessed, and you have so much that is there for you, without the need of obsessing with that one thing that is a potential. It wouldn't be there if it weren't a potential, but is not a destiny. So free yourself of that. Give yourself that gift of freedom. Such freedom.
Incredible freedom.
Oh, yeah.
We spend so much effort trying to make our lives perfect. It's like we're all trying to be. I think it's the same as peace. Everyone wants peace, but every time things get peaceful, we squirm. And then we fuck it up so we can have our chaos, because chaos is a relationship. That's what you have to look at, how you're relating to reality. What's the truth be? It's not defined, it's whether you're lackful. Destiny is lack. You don't need to fulfill a purpose. You're already a purpose. Your own existence tells you that.
Yeah. I remember I heard someone recently, right? Uh, they asked question, and they were telling them, you don't have a destiny. Really, quiet down. It's fine. It's okay. It's all right. And she was there. Oh no, I need a destiny. I need it. I cannot live without that. And it was so strong. So still, she was still holding that so much. Then they just stopped talking to her, because, right, the vibrationally she couldn't pass that. And so, well, that was her posture, her vibration. And well, you cannot interfere with that. You have to leave that.
Absolutely.
That's the way it is, right? It was an offer. She didn't take that, right? And
I was going to say, and sometimes it feels uncomfortable for people to let them be what they are. We have this hero complex that we're supposed to make the world a better place. We're not supposed to make the world a better place. We're already living a world that is unconditional and priceless. Your experience and your relationship of a measured view or a polarized view is your perception. That's the work you want to do. You want to work on yourself. Don't worry about other people. They're fine. You know, they're fine. They're going to be forever.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing, right? To realize that, because I was talking with my cousin the other day, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so occupied. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I can't do anything. But the blah 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 blah." And I said to her, "Well, imagine if you were to stop doing all of that and say no to some stuff. What will happen? Nothing. Things will get done anyway. People will find a way to still go or be wherever they need to be without the need of you. And you will just have a moment where you can stop and breathe and yeah, it's as you said, the complex of the hero, or the complex of doing everything just to perform. Whereas if you just let go, things are still happening. You do not need to perform. You do not need to. Nothing. Reality is not going to stop because you are just taking a nap and not being productive. And right, that is something that some people are just afraid of. When you say, "Oh, you do not need to be productive all the time," and I say, "What?" You must. Time is money, and right, yeah, okay.
And those are just beliefs. How can people that live a wonderful, relaxed life get through life without being a pursuit of production or happiness? Well, because of perspective. See, everyone's going to get through life because everyone is life. There's no depletion of life. Your awareness never loses its value, never gains its value. It is always a constant. What is gained is your experience of self, your evolution of self. That's what's gained. What lost is the gain of self. It's a perception. You get to gain yourself in the ability to perceive loss. But you never lose, you never win, you just perceive the evolution of self. You should look at it like that, So it's a matter of recognizing. I always want people to recognize you're creating your reality. Everything you think is value and externalism, destiny, other people, fixing people, all of those externalism ideas are just relationships of the here and the now. Here and now, you are creating your experience by saying or interpreting, value, whatever, those truths. And you can start to feel. Now, it doesn't make things false, is what I'm saying. It's still very, very real. So when you look at an externalism and you're feeling very valid about it and very angry about it and you need to do something about it, and you're looking at something externalism and there's bringing up that idea of that energetic self, that's the self you need to look at and say that's, and start to feel that vibration. And that is a perspective. It's a belief. It doesn't mean it's not the truth. It means you're relating through it because you have a relationship or polarity with it. That's where your vibration starts to understand. So when I feel a truth in me and I don't feel the polarity, the emotion around it, then I know it's a persona of self. But that's what my tactician started teaching me, is I'm starting to feel the truth of me without debate, without hesitation. I just know it right away. Before, I was so scared of anything. I was scared to death of failure, that every movement, every action had to be scrutinized by me, and in my algorithmic mind, I'm setting up all cases of scenarios about any action, like whether it's just making the bowl of cereal, is it too late to eat? Should I use this kind of milk? Is it going to give me phlegm? Or should I use the other milk? Or some bullshit fucking scenario I'm always going through. And I started looking at, those are perceptions. Those are beliefs in vibratory states. And you could start to familiarize with yourself with these beliefs. And those were external ideas of happening. It's like if someone eats an animal and you're claiming that's bad, you're externalizing that person as an action, giving you the experience of that action. It makes you feel better because you're a vegan and you can look at a meat eater as less than, so you're putting yourself on a pedestal, which fills your ego, and that's what you want to see. You're creating a belief system, an emotional identity, in other words, to value yourself in the moment. And just like when you succeed, as Max said, you're going to feel your success and then it's going to be empty and you're going to have to repeat it. So you cycle these lives and you never get anywhere except the evolution of cycling your lives. Where the hell are we going when you only have forever? Where the hell are we going when you're here and now? What you're doing is just creating your nows. You got to look at it in a severely, vastly different point of view. And that ability was honed through vibrational tactician to really understand what I'm doing to myself in the now. And then moving it to what I'm doing for myself in the now. Evolving me. Choices of benefits instead of my benefits, not the benefits of humanity, not to look good in the light of others, like, oh my God, you're so awesome. Here's something, here's an award. Ooh. You don't want to live for that fucking bullshit temporary idea. You want to be the moxie of yourself, the salt of yourself, and the worth of yourself. Birth that. And you got to wage yourself through your vibrational postures that you don every day. As soon as you get out of bed and hit the ground, every action and interactions, just start to observe. Don't criticize. Don't look where it's going. Stave off the appetite of expectation and just start to see, my God, I'm a fucking mess. And I don't need to manage this anymore. I can just be a different person. The person I am in the moment that's available to me. I don't need to make myself a person. I already am a person. But what person do I want to be is up to me now because I'm seeing myself. I'm observing my reactions as opposed to my persona. So I think that's valuable. So I think vibrational tactician is a huge asset to humanity. Anyways, that's it, Max.
Absolutely fantastic. So
look, it's coming to the end.
Coming to the end.
This is the end.
Yeah.
This is the end. The end.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before, as always, I forgot, as always, you can write us your comments, questions if you have on the Madden God podcast at gmail.com. And you can you can find Roxy. Where can people
I have
find you?
2 places on YouTube, and that's Odyssey of Ascension and odysseyofascension.com. And Odyssey is ODYSSEY of OF Ascension ASCENSION.com. And it's on YouTube. And that's my channeling work and my findings about life. I've put it out there. There's 700 and some odd videos of just my evolution, showing you the path of my own exploration, offering you these insights, and how you take them and create them in your reality is totally up to you, and you can't fail it. Just go out there and do it. And where can they find you, Max?
Breakfast with Max on YouTube, and breakfastwithmax.com, my website. And and I wanted to remind also one thing is the Wednesday classes with Roxy.
Tonight at 7 p.m.
You can join
Central
anytime.
Time.
Yeah, and you can
Yes.
join anytime. And it's a wonderful
Great work.
experience and great work.
You do great work.
So if you want, join. It's absolutely fantastic. You go to Roxy's website for more information, and you go through it. It's
There
on
you go.
the website.
All right, Max.
There you go. So we're done for today. Thank you,
Max.
Roxy. Thank you,
Thanks
everyone,
all
for joining.
in. We'll see you next week, Max.
To next week. Yes. Thank you. Bye.